Barbara and Esther flew back from Stamford, Connecticut, and their flight was late leaving, and so they missed their connection. And Esther said, well, in the spirit of everything is always working out for us, this one's hard to figure out, because I would have thought if things were really working out for us, we would have made that connection. And then she thought, well, I'm still going to hold to the idea that things are always working out for us. And then they began playing with everyone in the airport who would play with them. The redcoat is telling them you're on timeout because they were having such a good time. And then they got on a flight flying into San Antonio with a flight attendant who was, without question, the most remarkable and funny, not just funny, hilarious, not just hilarious, fall down and die funny, that they had ever met. The flight wasn't full. They were in the first class cabin. They had most of it to themselves, just a few random strangers who were not having anything to do with Peggy because Peggy was just too silly for most people. But she was not too silly for Barbara and Esther, and she proceeded to entertain them in ways that we cannot even begin to explain to you. Until for the 3-hour flight, Esther and Barbara laughed nonstop until they were hurting. And even people who were having none of Peggy are now laughing because they are egging her on. Esther said, I would have missed 15 flights to rendezvous with this comedian. So now Peggy is telling them everything about every passenger on the airplane, which is completely unprofessional, but really, really funny. And there's a man back there who really needs to have an air marshal come and take him off the plane. But Peggy doesn't like the inconvenience of that. And she's pretty sure that that kind of language doesn't rise to the level of returning to Atlanta. And Esther and Barbara are agreeing with her. And so she's just reporting in on what's going on. Esther offered to go back and sit with the man if it would help, but it turned out it was not necessary. And then Peggy is referring to the old people over there and the old people over there and the old people over there. And Esther said, you might kind of want to stop that because that's going to come back and bite you in the butt one day because we're all moving through time. And then Peggy was having such a good time entertaining all of them that she forgot to give the in-flight announcements. And so Esther said, please bring your tray tables and seats to the upright position. And a man who was not having anything to do with Peggy said to her, you might want to take your seat. And she said, do you see treetops? And he said, yes, I do. And then Peggy realized that not only had she not given any of the announcements, her kitchen was still all open. So she is closing doors. Oh shit, 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 oh shit. And then Barbara and Esther see her fly across the walkway and into her seat just as the plane lands. And Esther said, here's my card, Peggy. Call me when they fire you, and they will fire you. Because there was an airline captain sitting on the front row, pretending to be asleep, but taking all of it in. And Barbara and Esther felt utterly responsible because they had evoked every bit of every bit of every bit of every bit. Peggy said, they keep drug testing me, I don't know why. And Esther said, I think that cucumber and tomato diet you're on is fermenting in your stomach and turning to alcohol or something. It could be something like that. So, would you have wanted to miss something like that? Wouldn't you have been willing to roam around the Atlanta airport for an extra hour so that you could rendezvous with something that you will never forget as long as you live, that will be a source of vortex entry and hanging in there? Esther has entertained herself with that hours on end, not wanting to forget one precious morsel of information that Peggy delivered to them in her innocence, in her certifiable innocence, in her willingness to play with passengers in an environment where you usually don't get that much fun from flight attendants. So we're just saying that if you begin to watch for the manifestations that are occurring, Esther and Barbara know we could not have been in a better place, because you can't have that kind of experience if you're not in a really good place. And there are many who would say, but Abraham, I thought we were creating empires. I thought we were creating movements. I thought we were creating big things. I thought we were creating more important things. And we say, nothing is more important than the manifested reflection of the genius and the power and the clarity and the love of who you are. In other words, manifestation right now, right now, right now, right now, right now. Reflecting back what? Reflecting back your relationship with who you really are and nothing more. So when you get it, that you have control over your relationship with the vortex, then you get it that you have control over everything. The cells of your body, your economic relationship with the economy, your relationship with everyone, your relationship with everyone and everything, every manifestation, large or small. And we want to say there aren't large or small ones. There's just now giving you feedback, now giving you feedback, now giving you feedback.